Welcome to my watercolour channel. My name's Karen Rice. I'm going to be demonstrating colourful autumn trees using lots of gorgeous sponging and salt and spattering techniques. For a full list of all the colours that I'm using and the materials, please see the description below. This is the glorious reference photograph that I will be using in the tutorial. A link for that can be found in the description below. Just click show more or the little down arrow just beneath the video. Shall we get started? I'm wetting the entire painting with my large brush. You can use a flat brush or a very large mop brush just to give the background a total soak. And I've mixed up some lovely autumnal colours, quite a creamy consistency, and I'm painting it wet into wet with my size 6 and size 10 brush. If you would like to watch longer, more informative tutorials with lots of colour mixing explanations, drawing templates and more voiceovers, why not think about joining my Patreon membership? Details about that can be found in the top right hand corner or in the description below. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section below and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. This painting is so much fun to do because I'm just dropping in the colours wet into wet. I put a lovely creamy orange colour on that horizon line just below the tree, so you've got that real contrast of light and darks. I've mixed up some really creamy dark here and I'm dropping it in damp into wet or wet into wet with my size 6 brush. And I've used Indigo, burnt Sienna and a little bit of Phthalo Blue and a little touch of Alizarin Crimson. I'm just sprinkling some salt now on my damp paint. I've let it dry naturally and I'm brushing it off with my kitchen towel. I've mixed up some creamy paint, dark paint here for this sort of lovely crimson looking tree, and I'm sponging wet on dry with my natural sponge, but you could use a synthetic sponge as well, and I'm just tapping very gently, and I'm going to go about all the trees now just putting on the colours that I use underneath, and I'm going to put this on wet on dry to create this wonderful texture. Once I finish sponging in my tree foliage, I'm starting to paint the tree trunks, and there's a lovely warm light coming from the right. So I'm just putting some orange wet on dry with my size 6 brush on the right hand side of the trees, and then I'm going to paint a very dark wash with the burnt sienna and the indigo or Payne's grey on the left hand side, and I'm letting that colour run a little bit into that orange so you get a nice soft edge. Once I finished painting the tree trunks and some of the lower branches, I was putting in the cast shadow with my size 10 brush. I really loaded it, and I've created a really nice sort of shadow colour using the indigo with a tiny touch of the blue, tiny touch of the burnt sienna, painted this wet on dry, really showing that lovely cast shadow of these trees running across those glorious colours on the grasses there. It creates that lovely autumnal scene. Try to be as loose as you can with the sort of larger shadow area that's sort of in the middle of that grasses there. As you can see, I've got a little bit of dry brush effect, and I decided to leave that in. I thought it gave it a lovely dappled light effect. And it's all wet on dry, and I'm just bringing this down into the foreground with this sort of little bit more of a phthalo blue mix there, because that shadow in the foreground right at the bottom there is a little bit more green in colour. And I'm just spattering pure Hansa yellow light, wet on dry, just on the light areas of the background bushes, really to give it a little bit of sparkle. And now I'm using my size 2 round brush, wet on dry, painting some dark sort of thin branches here and there just to really bring these autumn trees to life. If you struggle with painting branches with a brush, why not try a twig? I've actually sharpened it with a little craft knife and I'm dipping it into a little puddle of paint and just painting the twigs and little small branches on, and it makes it so much easier and it's so much fun. As you can see there, I'm just putting those tiny little branches at the top there, the twigs, and I'm giving my trees a final little sponging, wet on dry, to put the sort of shadow areas of the foliage, and it really brings it to life. I'm concentrating more on this foreground tree, the crimson one, but giving little bits of texture here and there on the other trees. It really does bring this painting to life with all this sponging. I thought I'd give a little spatter of yellow paint just in the foreground and again in those distant bushes and a little bit on the trees as well, just to give it a little bit of sparkle and light. I thought, even though the photograph doesn't have any sky, any blue sky, I thought I might finish off and paint a cloudy sky with a little bit of blue. So I'm using ultramarine and painting it wet into wet and leaving negative space for the clouds. It just shows that you don't actually have to copy the photograph exactly. You can make your own decisions and bring your painting to life and put your own stamp on it. I think I'll leave it there for now. I'm really pleased with this autumnal scene and I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you'd like to watch longer tutorials, don't forget about the Patreon membership. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll get updates of my latest videos. For any questions, please put them in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching. Happy painting. Bye for now.